Hello, it's Simon Gray from Career Codex and welcome to another weekly video where I'm talking about everything to do with finding success in the executive job market. And last week, of course, had a week off, just back from Spain. Not too much of a tan. The weather was good. It was a good holiday, but for those of you with small children watching, you'll appreciate that having small children doesn't always equal a relaxing holiday. But no, I had a really good time. The sun is shining in the UK. I've got the blinds shut in the office. There's no need for the lights today. As you can see, I'm dressed, suited and booted, off down to London a little bit later on, speaking at the ICAW, Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, Financial Controllers Conference on Planning Your Career. So really looking forward to that. Doing a live Q&A with a journalist and the finance director of Sky. So it should be a really interesting afternoon. But on to today's topic, which is the LinkedIn professional headline. LinkedIn professional headline is hugely important. LinkedIn is hugely important because, of course, it's the premier platform if you're in the executive job market to find, to identify opportunities and then secure those opportunities by positioning yourself in the right way to leverage a face-to-face meeting with either a recruiter or an employer. And one of the big bugbears when I look at people's LinkedIn profiles is I see they put their professional headline as seeking new opportunities, currently seeking new opportunities, or the best of a bad bunch, actively seeking new opportunities. And for me, this is a huge mistake because the professional headline is probably the second thing people see. First thing they'll look at is your photo. If you don't have a photo and it needs to be a professional one, you need to get a photo as soon as you can. I rarely, when I was a recruiter, rarely contacted anybody who didn't have a photo because I couldn't get a sense of them, of the individual behind the profile. And of course, LinkedIn gives you an advantage over a CV because you can communicate more of your personality through the photo, professional headline, various documents you can attach. So you've got to take advantage of that. And LinkedIn's best advice is if they give you an opportunity to do something, if you want to feature in the search results, then you better do what they give you the opportunity to do. So photo and professional headline, hugely important. And of course, now there's probably about 400 million plus members on the LinkedIn platform. So to stand out, if you really want to stand out, you have to leverage the power of that professional headline, which means you can't just rely on currently seeking new opportunities because it doesn't help you stand out. And I know people watching this who have that as their current professional headline may be thinking, well, is this right? You know, I'm quite happy with what my professional headline says, and that's absolutely fine. But what I would say is, as a former professional recruiter with 10 years experience under my belt, representing employers and also looking to top up my database on a continual basis, that that title, that professional headline really attracted me to stay on anyone's profile for very long at all. What I was more interested in was their skills, experience, and a wow factor. So having landed on the LinkedIn profile, what was it that made that person stand out? What was going to keep me on their profile and keep me reading? And that started, of course, with the professional headline. So there is one caveat, and I'll cover this because I get asked this question a lot. People say to me, well, if I'm in the interim job market, if I'm available immediately, well, my status is currently seeking new opportunities. Well, yeah, that's true. But what I would say on that is that just because you're available immediately doesn't mean that that's your story. That's not why you're going to get hired. Of course, in the interim job market, the temporary job market, there is an advantage to being available immediately. Essentially, you have to be available immediately or very short notice to be considered for interim positions. But nobody's going to hire you just because you're available immediately. You still need the skills, experience, and aptitude to do the job on offer. So why is currently seeking new opportunities a real mistake on your professional headline? Well, there are 7 reasons, and I've got my prompt here on the iPad just to run through those very quickly. The first thing is it communicates nothing about your skills, experience, or industry sector. These are important things that people look at when they land on your profile. Industry sector is very important because, of course, employers are looking to mitigate risk when they hire. If they take somebody from the same industry sector that they're in, their belief is that that will mitigate the risk of the candidate coming in and not being able to hit the ground running. So if they hire somebody from the same industry sector, of course, there is a higher probability of them hitting the ground running and doing a great job early on. Number 2, so while it may be your current situation, you might be in between jobs, you're looking for this new opportunity. It says nothing about where you've come from, or more importantly, where you're going. And that's what's really important. So, don't make it your story, which is point 3. It simply describes your circumstance. Don't make it your story. Communicate something different to get the reader's interest of your profile. So, number 3, it's not really relevant in the mind of executive recruiters or employers looking to hire. As a professional recruiter, I've already said that it wasn't something that would particularly attract me to one profile over another. So don't use it as your professional headline. And number 4, this links to the story bit. It does nothing to differentiate you from other people in the job market for competing for the type of opportunities, the type of executive opportunities that you want. So, this is a wasted opportunity if you don't use it to its full potential. Number 5, well, at best it's factual, at worst it's, desperate, or can be seen as desperate. Employers will like to feel like they're getting a candidate that's in demand. We all like things that we can't have. We all want things that we can't have. That's part of their appeal. So if your positioning is solely the fact that you're in the job market and available, there's very little exclusivity. There's very little, invitation for demand there. So don't make it the story. Don't make it the story. Be slightly more unavailable, but open to discussing opportunities than absolutely being desperate for an opportunity. There's a really big distinction there. Number 6, it suggests your job search is reactive. Please take a look at my profile. I need a job. I'll take whatever I can get. As opposed to being proactive. I know what my experience is, and I know what kind of opportunity I want. And one of the things I do with my Executive Edge clients is I move them from a state of reactivity in the executive job market to one of proactivity. And the only time you can really get control of your executive job search is when you move from reactivity to proactivity. Because if you're proactive, that gives you the opportunity to take full control of your executive job search. And number 7, it communicates zero passion, enthusiasm, or energy. It's really void of originality. If that's all you can put for the professional headline, well, we need to think again, because there is a lot more to you as a candidate, as an executive job seeker, than simply being available in the job market. And then there's a related point. It's not one of the 7, but it's a related point, and this is keywords. So if you use Google as a search engine, most of us do, when you're searching for something, you type words in the box. And what Google then does, it goes out to the World Wide Web, looks for those words on websites and pulls back the most relevant websites for you to view. That's what its job is. That's what it gets paid for. So keywords are really important. So you've got to think about who might be looking at your profile, who you want to attract to look at your profile, and think what keywords they may be searching on using LinkedIn's advanced people search. This is the search box at the top right of your profile. It's available to you even on a basic non-paid for LinkedIn subscription. So you have to think about keywords, but you have to balance that with a coherent and understandable and memorable message. And those of you who've seen previous videos, I've talked about the Tell Me More test. This was the catalyst for my professional headline. Go back and have a look at that video. It's on the YouTube channel and on the website. But you have to make a balance between keywords and also your profile resonating, grabbing attention, and being very easy, memorable, and having that wow factor. So if you're stuck with your professional headline, at the very basic level, think about job title, think about industry sector, and then think about what's the wow factor. Where have you added value? What are you moving towards? What's the thing that will get people to think, wow, I need to read on. I need to look at this person's profile in a bit more detail. This is really your headline. This is the newspaper article. This is the front page of the newspaper that gets you to buy the newspaper and read a little bit more. I want to talk a bit about planning, because to really get your professional headline right, you've got to think about, well, what kind of opportunity are you looking for? You've got to plan for what that opportunity looks like. You've got to think about what your destination is. I call this a destination statement, which is the opportunity that you're looking for and the time it will take you to find it. So until you know where your destination is, well, the chance of finding it is very slim. And while many people come onto the job market, the exec job market, and think, probably the best option is just to talk to everybody because there's going to be a job out there somewhere. If I position myself without really anchoring to any one thing in particular, I've got a better chance. Well, that's one way to think about things, but we live in a world of specialism. And in actual fact, to get your message heard and heard by the people that you want to work for, you've got to define who those people are and then position a message in front of them that will resonate with them, that will get their attention. So it has to be niche to niche even. And I came up with this phrase the other day, and I thought it summed this up quite well. And the phrase is, and I'll read it to make sure I get it spot on. Your job is to appeal to the minority you choose. So this is about being proactive, saying this is the opportunity that I want. So these are the people that I need to talk to. These are the people I need to position my experience in front of. So your job is to appeal to the minority you choose, instead of the majority you have no control over. So the majority you have no control over is everybody on the LinkedIn platform. It's everybody out there in the job market, every employer out there. If you don't choose who you want to talk to, they're unlikely to hear your message. So remember this, your job is to appeal to the minority you choose instead of the majority you have no control over. And this is about positioning your niche in front of the right people, delivering the right message, and always writing your professional headline with the reader in mind. So the last point, people say to me, well, I'm in between jobs, Simon. What do I do? I'm in between. I've got to put currently seeking opportunities. That's my job. Well, it may be your job currently, but it's not where you've come from and it's not where you're going to. So don't make it your story. Back to the 7 points, the keyword additional point that I made. You may be in between jobs, but the message is you've added value in the past. You have a certain industry sector specialism. You have a certain job title that you've worked in the past or looking to work in next. So think about what that message might be that isn't currently seeking new opportunities. So more information on the website, careercodex.com. I put a lot more information in the blog. I've also just recorded the podcast this morning, up bright and early. It's only about 8:30, so I've done the podcast and the video already. That's because I'm off to London a little bit later on. So have a look at those, a lot more detail in there. This is a quick summary of this topic, the LinkedIn professional headline. Hopefully that's been useful. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment on YouTube. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a question or a topic you'd like me to cover in the future. And until next time, take care, and I'll be back next week with another Career Codex video on finding success in the executive job market.